Adam lived for 930 years. That is almost 1,000 years. Adam's son was Shais. Was Shais the Tzadik Hashem was looking for? Shais taught all he knew to his son Enosh. But he was not the Tzadik Hashem was looking for. It was in the days of Enosh that people began to have many children and the world began to fill. But it was also in his lifetime that people began saying, Hashem is too great to serve. Instead, we must serve his servants. Just like an ordinary person cannot come close to the king, but he can show honor to the king by giving respect to his ministers and serving the king's ministers. So people began serving the sun, the moon. They served the stars. They even bowed to wind and rain, trees, even copper, iron, wood, and stone. They even began worshipping animals. They would actually make statues of their gods and worshipping them. They would actually make statues of their gods and worship them, saying, we cannot worship Hashem because Hashem is too great, but we should serve his ministers. Enosh did not save his generation from Avodah Zarah, serving idols. So, was Enosh the Tzadik Hashem was looking for? The generation of Enosh was so wicked, and Hashem's anger was so great, that Hashem made the river Gihon overflow and flood the people until 1/3 of the generation drowned in this flood. Did they do teshuvah because of this terrible warning? No. Enosh lived so long that Noach was born in the lifetime of Enosh. And Enosh met Noach. Noach heard many stories from Enosh about his father Shais and his grandfather Adam. The son of Enosh was Canaan. Canaan was only 40 years old when he became very wise in all the wisdoms of the world. His wisdom was so great, he was made king over all the people of the world. Canaan even ruled over the Ruchais and Shadim. These are invisible powers created by the Averas people did. They're also created by Hashem as invisible messengers that punish people who do Averas. Ruchais and Shadim are bad malachim. Canaan knew that Hashem planned to destroy the entire world with a flood if they didn't do teshuvah. Canaan taught people to stop serving Avodah Zarah. And because he ruled over the Ruchais and Shadim, he was able to stop the Ruchais and Shadim from harming the generation. Canaan wrote on stones about the Mabul, the flood Hashem planned to bring in the future. And then he stored these stones in his royal treasure house. Even though Canaan was so wise and tried so hard to make people do teshuvah, he did not succeed. Canaan's grandchildren invented metal weapons for war and musical instruments to play music to their Avodah Zarah. This also angered Hashem. So, was Canaan the Tzadik Hashem was looking for? No. The son of Canaan was Mahalalel. Mahalalel's name means that people stopped praising Hashem in his generation. The word Hallel means praise. Mahalalel means from praise, because people stopped from praising Hashem. Was Mahalalel the Tzadik Hashem was looking for? The son of Mahalalel was Yered. Yered means go down, because people in Yered's generation went down, even further away from Hashem. Was Yered the Tzadik Hashem was looking for? The son of Yered was Hanoich. Was Hanoich the Tzadik Hashem was looking for? Let's see. Hanoich loved Hashem so much and was upset by the behavior of the people around him. He decided to protect himself. He was afraid to live among people who were not afraid of doing Aveiros. And he went to live alone with his family in the mountains. He spent many years talking to Hashem and singing songs of praise to Hashem in the mountains and valleys. He loved to walk in the forests and admire the beautiful world Hashem made. He would sit for hours next to the rivers, singing songs to Hashem. Hanoich would talk to Hashem in Lashon HaKodesh, and he would learn all the 6 mitzvahs Hashem taught to Adam. And he wrote many books explaining the details of these mitzvahs. Can you guess which language all these books were written in? That's correct, Lashon HaKodesh. One day, a malach came to Hanoich and commanded him, Hanoich, Hashem wants you to return to where everyone else lives. You will become their king and teach them the ways of Hashem. Hanoich listened to the malach. He took his family and left his home in the mountains and valleys and returned to live with his people. He made small groups of people where he would teach them about Hashem. And soon, people were telling others about these learning groups. Soon, everywhere, people were talking about these learning groups and saying that if you want to learn all about Hashem, who created the universe, come! Listen to Hanoich! The people loved learning from Hanoich, and they made him their king. After a number of years, all the kings and princes around the world had heard about Hanoich, and they too came to learn from him. They wanted to see for themselves if it was really true that such a great and wise man exists, who can teach everyone how Hashem wants us to live. They came to ask all their questions and ask him for answers to their problems. They all saw how Hanoich was the most wise man of them all. And Hanoich knew much more than they did. They saw how much Hanoich loved to daven to Hashem and talk to Hashem and sing songs to Hashem. Finally, all the kings decided to make Hanoich ruler over them. Altogether, there were about 130 kings who asked Hanoich to rule over them. Hanoich became their king, but only so that he could teach them how to go in Hashem's ways and live in peace together. And that is really what happened. All his life he taught people how to serve Hashem and live in peace together. The entire world was at peace during the whole life of Hanoich. Hanoich had a son, Mesushelach. Mesushelach also grew up to be a Tzadik, like his father. Hanoich was king for 243 years when Adam died. Thousands and thousands of people came to bury Adam Harishon. After all, they were all his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. They all cried while speeches were said over the death of Adam Harishon, the first man. The man in charge of Adam's burial was Adam's own son Shais, and all of the sons of Shais, Hanoich, and his son Mesushelach, and the son of Mesushelach, Lemech. Adam was buried with great honor in the cave of Machpelah in Hebron. Actually, you can still visit Hebron and this cave today. The exact same cave has a very large building on top of it, and thousands of Jews pray there all year round. Hanoich continued to be the king of all the world. Everyone loved Hanoich, but after Adam died, Hanoich decided to go back to the mountains and valleys where he missed being alone with Hashem. He would be gone for 3 days, and every 4th day he would return to teach the people and judge them as their king, just for 1 day. During the days he was alone with Hashem, he would sing his favorite praises and songs to Hashem and pray all day for the world to be good and serve Hashem. After a while, Hanoich would disappear for 6 days and only return from the mountains for 1 day. Then it changed to only 1 day a month, and finally he only came home 1 day a year. For the 1 day a year he would return to be king, all his people would come. All the kings and princes of all the lands came too. But Hanoich was now so kadosh, so tahor, so unique and special and pure that the bright light was shining from his face. It was so bright, people were afraid to come close to him. They thought they might die. Each year, everyone throughout the world gathered to listen to Hanoich's deep wisdom. Only on that 1 day he would talk to them. He taught them about Hashem's great power and how every power in the universe, wind, sunshine, rain, really comes from Hashem alone. They would all bow down to the ground, singing, "Long live the King! Long live the King!" One day, a malach came to Hanoich and told him it was time for him to leave this world and enter Olam Haba. Hanoich gathered all the kings and people together to tell them that he was soon leaving them, but did not know exactly when. So he wanted to teach them all he could and answer their questions before he left. He taught them great wisdom about the universe, showing them beautiful secrets about how Hashem created the smallest details of the world for us to love Hashem and see Hashem's perfect world as a way to love Him. Hanoch made many laws that the people took very seriously. One day, while Hanoch was teaching a very large crowd, suddenly people were distracted by a large horse that was being carried in the sky by the winds. It was coming behind Hanoch, their beloved king. Hanoch smiled and told everybody the time had finally arrived for him to leave them. He gave a last invitation to everyone to come and learn with him before he leaves. After he finished speaking, he climbed onto the horse and began riding away very slowly. 800,000 people followed him. They did not want to be left without their teacher and king. On the second day, he turned around and told everyone to return to their homes, so they will not die when Hashem finally takes him away. Many listened and returned home, but many others could not bear to leave their teacher. This went on for 6 days. Till the 7th day, he gave his last warning, and then a chariot of fire with horses of fire came down from Shemayim and carried Hanoch away. Hanoch did not actually die. Hashem took him from this world at the age of 365. That sounds like a very long time to live. But many of the people in those times lived 800 or 900 years. Some lived even more than 900 years. But which is really more important? How long a person lives? Or how he lives? Is it more important to live a long life, even if it's not a good one? Or is it better to live a good life, even if it is shorter? Hanoch was such a big tzaddik. He did so much good for others that he did more in his 365 years than most people would be able to do in many thousands of years. But if he was such a great tzaddik, so why wasn't Hanoch the tzaddik Hashem was looking for? Can you tell why? Soon we will find out who was the tzaddik Hashem was looking for, and then we will see the difference between that tzaddik and Hanoch. The son of Hanoch was Mesushelach. He was a tzaddik like his father, and he continued to be king after his father Hanoch. His whole life he served Hashem as his father taught him, and he taught the ways of Hashem to all the people. But toward the end of his life, people began leaving the ways of Hashem. They stole from each other, and they did wasteful things. People became dishonest. They angered Hashem so much. Hashem decided to end the world and start again. Mesushelach had a son, Lemech. People continued to do terrible averas in the generation of Lemech. Lamech was a Tzadik. But was Lamech the Tzadik Hashem was looking for?